welcome to Ireland. It used to be green, it's not green anymore. So we'll take a look at Athlone. Very quick walk through the masts. Then I'll show you some measurements I took and a little tour of the town. So here we go. If we were to zoom out, you'll see there's 56 masts designated on Athlone town. You can take a look at any one of these. See, that turns into 2 masts immediately. Another 2, another 2, 7 there, Garden Vale. Another 3. And I think in particular one that's going to interest you. Okay, I've got slightly off there. Is this one. Imagine Communications, that's your 5G mast. But bear in mind that 4G, 3G, 2G, they're all bad. The research is done on 2G. 5G is just more of what was bad before that. So if we take a look at the reports here done by the regulator and compare them to our measurements. It's opening up pretty slowly. Garden Vale, one of the 7 masts. People got worried with 5G, but in 2010 there's an excellent award-winning documentary called Full Signal, and it shows you people struggling with masts all over the world. Cancer clusters, all sorts of clusters. So St. Mary's Place 2007 has opened up here. So something very interesting, having opened up that report accidentally, it turns out to be very valuable. And I'll show you why. St. Mary's Place. Okay, this is one of the reports that the regulator did. Look at the date, 2007. They like to tell us that they're monitoring our masts. Well, not our masts, telecoms masts. But 2007, you know, St. Mary's Place, you would think they'd be due another little bit of a monitoring. This is where I took measurements on my way down to the Sheraton, and I was getting immediately 5,000 the entire way down until I hit the buildings, and then I got out the other side of the buildings and there were 8,000 and more. So let's see in 2007 what they were getting in St. Mary's Place, because this is fascinating. The results here, the mean and the peak, go for the peak, it's 0.579 volts per meter. So when I convert that, wait for this, frame it, 889 microwatts per meter squared, like 900 you could say. We started at 5,000 in St. Mary's Place in 2020, 13 years later, and that's one of the big points trying to prove here. It's been known because I have a photo here to show you. See, look at, in the 1990s the urban background radio frequency levels in the USA were 30. In 2000 there were 500. So we're just after looking at a reading from 2007 and they're 900. And I'm about to show you readings in 2020 where they start at 5,000 in the same place. So that's very, very interesting. But we'll continue with our reports because that's St. Mary's Place in 2007. So from that same site viewer map I gave you, or I showed you, we started with, here's another report that's been done in 2014, Ross 11. It's the big mast that I stood outside and see that one there that we've been to. And my readings were up and down all over the place. But they did max out at 20,000. And if your bedroom, your office, was in the beam of the 20,000 or the 8,000 or the 5,000, it's crazy, isn't it? Not where you want to be. So they got for this. For Rosslevin, they got 5.7 back in 2014, but that's nothing. You know, it's nothing compared to today, and we shouldn't have these reports done once in a lifetime. Like St Mary's Place's, the final report was 2007, the one and only, and Rosslevin, the one and only report is 2014. They don't even think they need to look at it again. You know, it's ridiculous. And here we go now. This is 2018, a year and a half ago, and this was at the Sheraton Hotel. This is the regulator. See, that's the mast. I was sitting in traffic getting 15,000, but they got 6,500 when they measured it a year and a half ago. And you'll see me in a video outside with 8,000 outside this. So their measurements aren't matching up at all. And like I said, I've got other videos. Subscribe to my channel, Mary O'Donnell, or SmartEMF, or smartemf.com, SmartEMF on Facebook, and I'll fill you in on the research and the research levels. So, you know, I have a video done where I go into detail on this, where a level of 3 causes sperm damage, for example, 30 behavioural effects, 2,000 leukemia in kids, 5,000 is a 3G phone, 1 foot from your body, that's speakerphone, 100,000 is an inch away from your ear, nobody holds it there, that's where their safety limits are, everybody holds it there, which is, you know, there's labels coming out for phones now, you're not supposed to do that, we'll never test it there. So this here, when they say ICNIRP guidelines, the government is calling this safety at 10 million, and that's what they estimate would be the amount needed to heat you up and cook you. But heating you up and having biological harm are two very different things. So the biological harm, the oxidative stress, inflammation, sleep problems, brain problems, cancer problems, DNA, this all happens at low levels, okay? This is not heating up, this is cells getting damaged. This is heating up. So, you know, oranges and apples, chalk and cheese, there's two different things, and there are no safety limits, and that's what the scientists are saying. They're voting no confidence. They've signed a petition. All the top scientists in the world are in a crisis situation. They've signed a petition to stop 5G because 5G is a gigabit society where everything is wireless, and this radiation is everywhere, and it's too much. Cancer is now 1 and 2. Autism's through the roof. ADHD. All these are related. People living beside masts, level 6, fatigue, sleep problems, depression, focus, and 5G masts are going to be, you know, several factors stronger. Safe levels, look how my video goes through this in more detail, but there are none. And the scientists will say between 3 and 6. Politicians will say in the EU Parliament, the Council of Europe, when they tried to fix things in 2011, said 100, sleep in 10. Well, 15,000 is what you're getting going through Athlone. 20,000 for people who have sensitivity. Where are they supposed to go in this society where this radiation is everywhere? Here's the tests, okay? I'm going to do another video in detail, but now there are tests to prove the damage that this radiation is causing. There are measurements to show the difference between a 3G, 4G, 5G mast, and to show at what distance you're getting the blast. And 10 years ago, the top scientists in the world called for an urgent survey of people who live around masts. That was never delivered. It was requested in this country in 2006 and again in 2019. The answer from the regulator, who took those measurements, who were way below my measurements, and who just demonstrated a huge difference between 2007 and 2020, was that the population in Ireland was too small. Even one person damaged is too much. It's just not enough. That's the statistics that show if you go over 1,000 and you're all at 20,000, 8,000, 5,000, if you go over 1,000 in your exposure with these masts, that's the risk of cancer, how it increased. And that's our Irish Constitution, personal rights. So much for an amendment. I think they burned it. Does it exist? Try reading through that. Because you're not safe in your own home. That radiation's coming in. Somebody can put a router at the other side of your bedroom wall. That radiation is in your home. It's at dangerous levels. they need to shield people who are beside masts, and they need to take down the masts in the long term and stop the rollout of it. It's ridiculous. So this is my first tour of Athlone in way over a decade, and all of these masts are very new, so a bit of a shock. So arranged to meet somebody in Ganley's. Noticed the readings are very high, and this just is what you see when you drive through Athlone as a stranger. Why on earth are you getting 10,000 in the car park, and more than that? Consistently high. Got out of the car to make sure nobody's phone was contributing. Turns out in the distance, just sort of in the warehouse of Ganley's, another part of Ganley's, all these antennae. There you go, shopping, bathed in radiation. Then you get in the car, you drive towards Athlone, the old water tower, landmark feature, covered in antennae. Quite a shocking sight. Then you drive in, getting towards the bridge, going along the Shannon, should be a beautiful view. All you see is masts. You get to the bridge, all you see is masts. It's incredible. It's like it's just been totally taken over. Down to the railway station. Gigantic big mast. And you're just so close to it, it's unbelievable. And then you come out of the railway station. You're looking across at something else, another one. And they're so close. They're everywhere. You couldn't count them. This is driving away from the railway station. And look at that on top of a hotel. That's incredible. I would not like to be in that room there. So then down looking at, I think this is called Roslevin, and that mast, I mean, it's right outside all these houses. It's just incredibly close. So I took a lot of readings there, and they vary. It's like a yo-yo, up and down, depends on where you are. And I seem to be sheltered from the house, because anytime I was outside of any houses and directly facing the mast, the readings went straight up. They actually maxed. Interestingly enough, you'll see that John Macaulay, the Comreg regulator contractor who measures these things, he did a measurement on Roslevin and he got a much lower value than me. He got 5.7 thousand, but it was way back 5 years ago. No, 6 years ago now, 2014. 5.7 thousand. I'm getting, you'll see in the little video that it goes way above that, and it actually maxed out off the video at over 20,000. So what does that say about his readings? And then that's a different water tower, and that's also covered in antennae, and that's just up the road from that other mast. You'd wonder why they need so many. And that there is just right beside the mast as well, and that's right beside somebody's house. It's incredible. And the readings are very high there. I was getting at least 8,000 sitting in the car. See, these masts, they're just, people just accept them as normal. That's not normal, guys. That is not normal. Then driving back from those masts up towards the town, sitting there, the reason I took the photo is the meter was suddenly 15,000. 15,000. And another report from the Comreg regulator contractor, John Macaulay of Compliance Engineering, he got something low for that mast as well. I think it's, what is it, 6.5 thousand into a year and a half, summer 2008. 6.5 thousand. I'm only a few hundred meters away. I'm getting 15,000. Although there's so many masts around, you wouldn't know where it's coming from. But how would he know where it's coming from either? Now this is just an example to show you. This is maxed. Yeah, this is over 20,000, and we don't know how much over 20,000. Is it 100,000? We don't know, because this little meter just goes as far as 20. But it turns out, I lent this meter to somebody who hadn't used it before. That's his phone. So you gotta realize that your phones, your devices, anything smart, and your Wi-Fi routers are hitting you with this level of radiation all the time. The only thing is, I suppose, you can turn your phone off. You're not blasted with it all the time. You have a choice at the moment to turn those things off. And that's when you held the phone away from the meter, you're still picking up 7,000. So some young people do use a phone 6 hours a day, or some people do carry it in their pockets and they're sterile. The research shows that it can damage DNA and it can cause genetic defects in kids, in particular autism. And that's your phone. 1,640 hours is what the research says you get using phones to an increased risk of cancer And all of that is coming out now. So then on the way out of town, Ericsson's mast. That one was pretty high as well. And that's me standing outside Ericsson's, the mothership. Ericsson's are responsible for a lot of the, but ultimately is criminal behaviour to sell such dangerous stuff, you know. So just driving along everywhere in Athlone, even the little roads outside Athlone, there's masts, 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 and holding the meter, it just shoots up to 20,000. Anywhere randomly. There we go again, more masts, you know, driving along the roads. Incredible number of masts. That's back in that house again. It just shows you how close it is to the house. Right outside your house. How did people ever come to accept that that was normal? They're radiating all the time. When you back down to the train station there. Taking a look at the Athlone mast. This is recording now, so we're taking a look at the Athlone mast. We're walking along the estate that's right beside it. Readings are low, now getting higher in different directions. It's up, that's 4.678 milliwatts per meter squared, which is 4,000 microwatts. We're looking at the top left corner because that's pulse modulated radiation. It's that's the peak, is what we are interested in.
Yeah, that's not that high.
That is high because if you look at the video I put up on the levels of harm, according to the science, 6 is the safe level. The European Parliament will have it at 100. So if you're getting 6,000, it might look relatively low compared to 20,000, but it is high. Now here we are at 5,000 and we're just walking around the houses. It's low compared to some estates, but this is what we're getting at the Athlone big mast, and we're very close to it. And these are the houses just directly underneath it. So we're actually very close to the mast. The bulk of the radiation may actually hit a few hundred meters away. We're not a few hundred meters away here. Maybe 100 max. And the antennae are exceptionally high on that mast compared to some of them that we've seen. So straight away it's gone from 700 up to nearly 7,000. Yes. So, you know, that could be your bedroom, it could be your office, it could be the kids playing outside, and you'll see from the research that a short-term exposure can sometimes have big effects. Okay, so we're here in Athlone. Reading is 1.8. We're getting high, and you can see why now in a second when we get like St Mary's. And there's the Sheraton mast. Okay, quite a brutal thing. Right, just on top of it now. Readings are pretty high. Like you're sitting in an office here, working all day, bathed in radiation, or if it's your home, your bedroom, fresh. And you can see it dips down lower, not lower. So why Athlone needs so many masts. I mean, there's at least 3 right beside each other, and buildings with antennae on them too. So some of the buildings could be offering a bit of shielding, but it seems every time we step outside a building, those readings go up. Stepped outside the buildings now, readings immediately going up, hitting 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 8,000. So here we are outside one of the other Athlone Masts. There's just so many. Well, there's rain on the window, but you can see it there, right beside houses. And we're getting 8,000. Top left peak, up and down. Okay, this is the Sheraton Hotel. The readings are very low, except for some reason in this particular spot keeps hitting 10,000. This is inside the hotel. Shows you. Okay, this is Ericsson, the mothership, rolling out 5G. I don't know, I wouldn't say Ireland, I'd say the entire world the way it's going. Irish Huawei. So here we are under a mast of Ericsson's. At least they're trying themselves. I'm sure there's a lot more going on in terms of millimeter wave here too. Ericsson's, you did not give us a vote. We do not want 5G. It's criminal what you're doing. Absolutely criminal.